The notebook was open in Maya's hands, and the world had gone very quiet. The private dining room smelled of cold butter and abandoned wine, the chandelier casting everything in amber. 6 chairs pushed back at odd angles, half-empty glasses catching the light, and in Maya's hands, a photograph of a man she had not seen in 7 years. Her father. Alive. Well-dressed, standing in front of a building she did not recognize, squinting slightly into the sun the way he always had. The scar above his left eyebrow, the particular set of his shoulders, the watch, silver, rectangular face, the one her mother had described so many times Maya could see it in her sleep. Her legs stopped working. She sat down in one of the chairs she was not supposed to sit in. "That's him," she whispered. "That's actually him." The photograph was dated 8 months ago. Then she heard it. Footsteps in the corridor. Slow, deliberate. A security guard making his rounds. Maya's head snapped up. Her eyes went to the door. The footsteps were getting closer, maybe 30 seconds out, maybe less. The notebook lay open across her knees, her father's face looking up at her from a life she knew nothing about. She had 2 choices. Put it back exactly where she found it, under the edge of that chair, and walk out of this room with her bus tray and her apron and her $14 an hour life. Or take the only proof she had ever seen that her father was not simply gone. 20 seconds. Her hands were not shaking. That surprised her. Her hands were very still. She folded the notebook closed, monogrammed leather cover facing up, DF, embossed in gold, and slid it into the front pocket of her apron, beneath a folded cloth napkin. The door handle moved. She was already at the far end of the table, stacking dessert plates with practiced efficiency, her back straight, her face calm, the way she had learned to be calm in rooms where she was not supposed to exist. Still clearing? The guard leaned in the doorway, flashlight angled at the floor. "Yes, sir," Maya said. "Almost done." He nodded and moved on. His footsteps faded down the marble corridor, swallowed by the hum of the ventilation system. Maya stood still for exactly 4 seconds. Then she picked up the bus tray, pushed through the swinging door into the service hallway, and kept walking. Nobody stopped her. Nobody looked twice at the girl in the apron moving through the staff corridor with her head down and a notebook in her pocket that was about to rewrite 3 lives. But to understand what happened next, what that photograph meant, and who left it behind, and why a 16-year-old dishwasher was the only person in that hotel who could recognize the man in it, we need to go back to the beginning. And the beginning was a Tuesday, an ordinary Tuesday, the kind Maya had lived 100 times before. If you've ever had a story find you when you weren't looking for it, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. And subscribe, because this one is just getting started. The fun is just beginning. Tell us what city you're from in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. The tension is rising. Who's watching from where? Like and subscribe to the channel. More to come. Tell us in the comments who's from which country, and give us a like and subscribe. The plot thickens. Let's check our geography. Tell us where you are now. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. We're just warming up. Tell us where you're watching from. Give the video a like and hit the subscribe button. The climax is near. Share where you're from, like, and be sure to subscribe. Events are unfolding rapidly. Write your city in the chat, give it a like, and subscribe so you don't get lost. The juiciest part is yet to come. Let's get started. Get to know each other. Where are you from? Like and subscribe right now. The suspense is building. Tell us where you're watching this episode from and reward us with a like and a subscribe. The excitement is running high. Tell us what city you're from now. Give us a big like and subscribe to the channel. The Tuesday that changed everything started the same way every Tuesday started. Maya's alarm went off at 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes before her mother's, because that was enough time to make oatmeal, wash the bowl, and leave the kitchen clean. She measured the brown sugar carefully, not because they were running low, but because careful was how she did things. The apartment on Cabrillo Street had 2 bedrooms, but Maya slept on the fold-out in the living room. She had moved there 3 years ago without discussion, just quietly carried her blanket out one night and never moved back. Her mother needed the room. That was all. Linda's scrubs were draped over the bathroom door, still damp from yesterday. Maya stepped around them, brushed her teeth, pulled her hair back with the same elastic she'd been using for 2 weeks. She checked the bill pile on the kitchen counter without touching it. $340 short on rent. She already knew. She had already done the math. __quote_5___. Linda appeared in the hallway, eyes half closed, hair pressed flat on one side. Quote, "7." Quote, "7." Quote, "I date." Linda looked at her for a moment. Really looked. The way she did sometimes, like she was trying to read something written too small to see. Then she nodded and shuffled toward the coffee maker. Maya took the 38 bus to school, then the 21. 42 minutes total, standing most of the way, her backpack between her feet, its broken zipper held shut with a safety pin she'd bent into, place herself. At school, she was quiet and precise, the kind of student teachers called self-sufficient, which meant she never asked for help, and they never thought to offer it. By 3:15, she was back on the 21, heading toward the hotel. The service entrance was on a side street that smelled of exhaust and the kitchen's exhaust fan, garlic butter, and something fried, and underneath it, all the faint sweetness of overripe fruit from the garnish station. Maya badged in, hung her school bag in locker 7, and pulled on her apron. The locker room smelled of bleach and someone's reheated lunch, fish probably, from the microwave in the corner. Chen-Williams. Greta appeared at the door, clipboard in hand, reading glasses pushed up on her forehead. Rack 7 needs a full reset before the 6 o'clock. Already on it, Maya said. Greta looked at her the way she sometimes did, a half-second too long, like she was about to say something, and then decided not to. She never asked Maya's age. Maya never offered it. The dishwashing station was loud and hot and honest. Steam rose from the machine in thick clouds. Maya's forearms reddened within the first 20 minutes, the way they always did. She found a rhythm: load, run, unload, stack. And inside that rhythm, her mind went somewhere quieter. She thought about the shoebox under her mother's bed, the photograph inside it, her father's face, slightly blurred, the last image anyone had taken before he was simply gone. She thought about it every Tuesday. She didn't know why Tuesdays specifically. She just did. The corporate banquet was booked for the private dining room on a Thursday. Greta posted the assignment sheet Wednesday evening, and Maya saw her name next to __quote _13____. She didn't think anything of it. She had cleared that room a dozen times. The guests arrived at 7. Maya caught glimpses of them through the swinging door. Dark suits, the kind that fit like they were made specifically for those particular shoulders. Low voices, the clink of crystal. Someone laughing at exactly the right volume, the way people laugh when they are performing relaxation rather than feeling it. One man stood apart from the others near the window. Older, silver at his temples. He held his glass without drinking from it, and he watched the room the way Maya sometimes watched rooms, like he was cataloging it rather than enjoying it. She didn't know his name yet. She just noticed him. By 9:30, the guests had filtered out. Maya started on the kitchen side, running the last rack of dinner plates, the steam rising in thick columns that fogged her glasses for a moment before she pulled them off and tucked them in her apron pocket. Greta appeared at the pass-through, coat already on, Maya said. Greta hesitated. Maya looked up. Greta never asked that, Maya said. Greta nodded once, pulled her coat tighter, and left. The kitchen went quiet except for the hum of the refrigeration units and the distant sound of the lobby piano, someone playing something slow and unrecognizable through 3 sets of walls. Maya loaded her bus tray and pushed through the swinging door into the private dining room. The room smelled of the evening, wine and cedar and the faint ghost of someone's cologne, expensive and dark. The chandelier had been dimmed to its lowest setting. 6 chairs sat at odd angles, napkins crumpled, glasses half full. An ordinary aftermath. She worked methodically. Glasses first, then plates, then the linen fold-down. She was reaching for the last chair when she saw it. A slim leather notebook, monogrammed in gold, that had slid beneath the chair's edge and was nearly invisible against the dark carpet. She almost left it. Lost and found was a box by the front desk. She could drop it there in 30 seconds. She picked it up. It was heavier than it looked, the leather worn smooth at the corners the way things get when someone carries them everywhere. She turned it over. DF, embossed in gold on the front cover. She would drop it at the desk. That was the plan. Then it slipped. The notebook fell open against her palm, and a photograph slid halfway out from between the pages. A photograph tucked loose, not taped, not clipped, just placed there carefully the way you place something you look at often. Maya caught it before it hit the floor. She looked down. Everything stopped. She took the 38 bus home alone, the notebook inside her apron folded against her stomach, her arms crossed over it the entire ride. The bus smelled of damp coats and someone's fast food. The fluorescent strip above her seat flickered twice and stayed dim. Maya stared at the seat back in front of her and did not move for 22 minutes. The apartment was dark when she got in. Linda's bedroom door was closed. Maya could hear the white noise machine through the wall. Her mother needed it to sleep, had needed it for years. She sat on the fold-out, pulled out the notebook, opened it. The photograph was still there. She hadn't imagined it. She studied it the way she had studied it in the dining room, but slower now, in the light of her phone screen. Her father stood in front of a glass-fronted building, squinting into the sun. He was wearing a dark jacket over a light shirt, no tie. He looked older. Of course he did. 7 years was 7 years. But the scar above his left eyebrow was the same. The way he held his shoulders, slightly forward, like he was always about to say something, was the same. And the watch. Silver case, rectangular face, the strap slightly worn at the buckle. Her mother had described it once, just once, in the specific way she described things she was trying not to think about. Maya had never forgotten. She turned the photograph over. On the back, in small handwriting, Shanghai, March, 8 months ago. She opened her phone, cracked screen, the crack running diagonally from the top right corner, and typed the company name from the notebook's cover into the search bar. Fong Meridian Technologies. The results came up immediately. A website, a Wikipedia entry, a Forbes profile from 2 years ago. She clicked the Forbes link. Daniel Fong, age 58, chairman and founder of Fong Meridian Technologies, based in San Francisco. Net worth listed in a range that Maya had to read twice because the number didn't feel real. There was a photograph, a formal headshot, gray suit, the same silver temples she had noticed through the swinging door. The man by the window, the one who held his glass without drinking. She scrolled down, and then she stopped. Born in Guangzhou. Immigrated to the United States at 19. One surviving sibling, a younger brother, James, whose current whereabouts are unknown. Maya read that sentence 4 times. James. Her father's name was James. She set the phone face down on the mattress. She pressed both hands flat against her knees. The white noise machine hummed through the wall. Outside, a car passed slowly, its headlights sweeping across the ceiling. Daniel Fong was staying in this hotel, right now. On the 14th floor, according to the guest list she had seen posted in the staff corridor 3 days ago, a name she had walked past without reading carefully. She picked up her phone again. She looked at the photograph of Daniel Fong, then at the photograph of her father, the shape of the jaw, the particular angle of the eyes. She had not seen it before because she had not been looking. Now she could not unsee it. She spent 2 days not doing anything. That was the hardest part, knowing and doing nothing with the knowing. Saturday she worked the morning shift, running breakfast racks through the machine, the steam rising in its usual clouds, and she kept her head down and moved fast, and did not look toward the elevator bank that led to the 14th floor. Sunday, she sat on the fold-out with her violin in her lap and tried to play, and couldn't. The bow kept stuttering. She set it down after 10 minutes, which she had never done before. She took the shoebox out from under the fold-out and looked at the photograph inside it. Her father at a backyard barbecue, younger, laughing at something off-camera, the son behind him. She held it next to the photograph from the notebook. Same man, same scar, different decade. She put them both away and made a decision. Monday morning, before her first class, Maya wrote a note on a piece of paper torn from the back of her chemistry notebook. 12 words. She read them 3 times, then folded the paper once and slid it inside the returned notebook. At 7:45 a.m., she walked through the service corridor to the front desk, not her section, not her business, and set the notebook on the counter. "Lost and found," she said to the desk attendant. "From the private dining room Thursday. Can you make sure it gets to the guest in 1408? The attendant looked at her uniform. "I'll log it." "Thank you." She left before she could change her mind. The note said, "I think you know my father. My name is Maya. I work here." She went to school. She sat through chemistry and English and a history quiz she had studied for and probably failed because she could not stop thinking about 12 words on a torn piece of paper sitting on a mahogany front desk in a lobby she was not supposed to walk through. At 4 p.m., Greta found her at the dishwashing station. "Someone's asking for you," Greta said. Her voice was careful, neutral in the way that meant she had already decided not to ask questions. Maya dried her hands on her apron. "Who?" "Guest, 14th floor." Greta held out a folded note, hotel stationery, cream-colored, heavy. "He left this." Maya unfolded it. "Please come to the lobby at 5 o'clock. I will be at the table by the east window. I won't take much of your time. D. Fong." She read it twice. Her chest felt tight in a way that had nothing to do with the steam. "You don't have to go," Greta said quietly. "I know." Greta looked at her for a long moment. The refrigeration units hummed. Somewhere in the kitchen, someone dropped a ladle and swore under their breath. "I'll cover your station until 6, Greta said finally, "if you need it." Maya folded the note and put it in her apron pocket next to the cloth she used to wipe down the racks. "Thank you," she said. She went back to work. She had 47 minutes to figure out what she was going to say to the man who might know where her father was. He was already at the table when she arrived. A pot of tea, untouched. 2 cups. He had thought to order 2 cups. Daniel Fong looked smaller in the lobby than he had through the swinging door. Or maybe it was that Maya was closer now, close enough to see that his hands, wrapped around his teacup, were not entirely steady. He was wearing a gray sweater, no jacket. He looked like someone who had been waiting for a long time and had learned to look calm while doing it. Maya sat down across from him. She was still in her uniform. She had not changed. She had not wanted to walk through this lobby in her school clothes, which made no sense, but there it was. "How old are you?" he asked. 16. He was quiet for a moment. He set down his cup. "Your note said you think I know your father." "I don't think it," Maya said. "I know it. His photograph was in your notebook." Daniel looked at her directly then. Really looked. At her face, the shape of it, the particular angle of her eyes. Something shifted in his expression. Not surprise exactly. More like recognition, arriving somewhere he hadn't expected it to land. Quote, 39, quote, he asked quietly. Quote, 40, quote, she said. Quote, 41, quote. The lobby hummed around them, the distant sound of rolling luggage, a phone ringing at the front desk, the soft piano from the bar. Daniel Fong sat very still. Quote 42. Daniel said finally. His voice was low and even, the voice of someone choosing each word deliberately. Quote 43. He paused. Quote 44. Maya's hands were flat on the table. She did not move them. He knew about me this whole time. Every single day, Daniel said. I can promise you that. She looked at the teacup in front of her. The tea had gone the color of amber, slightly overbrewed. She didn't pick it up. Quote, 48, quote, she said. Quote, 49, quote, 50. Quote, Daniel's jaw tightened slightly. It was the first time in 7 years. He wanted me to know he was safe, that the situation had changed enough that he was thinking about coming back. He stopped. And then I lost contact again. I've been trying to find him since. Maya looked up. You've been looking for him. For 7 years, Daniel said. I just didn't know he had a daughter. The piano in the bar shifted to something slower. A woman across the lobby laughed, bright and brief. The ordinary world continuing around a table where 2 people were sitting with an extraordinary silence between them. Daniel reached into his sweater pocket and set something on the table between them. A second photograph, different from the one in the notebook. James, younger, standing next to a teenage boy who had the same jaw, the same eyes. That's us, Daniel said, 30 years ago. Maya picked it up with both hands. She was in the service corridor the next afternoon, carrying a full linen stack toward the storage room, when she heard the heels. Sharp, deliberate, the kind of sound that expected the hallway to clear for it. The woman was perhaps 30, tailored black coat, hair pulled back so severely it looked like a statement. She was looking at Maya the way people look at something they have already decided about. You're the dishwasher, she said. Not a question. Maya stopped. The linen stack was heavy against her forearms. I work here, yes. I'm Serena Fong. She let that sit for a moment. Daniel is my father. The fluorescent light above them buzzed faintly. Somewhere down the corridor, a door opened and closed. I know who you are, Maya said. Serena's expression didn't change. Then you'll understand that I'm asking you, very directly, to think carefully about what you're doing. I returned a lost notebook. You inserted yourself into something that has nothing to do with you. Maya shifted the linen stack. Her arms were starting to ache. He's my father's brother. Allegedly. Serena's voice was even, controlled, the temperature of a closed window. Serena said carefully. Maya looked at her. The linen stack, the buzzing light, Serena's coat, which probably cost more than 3 months of Maya's paychecks. Quote, 72. Quote, Maya said. Quote, 73. Quote. The words landed like a door closing, quiet, final. Maya felt something tighten in her chest. She thought about the photograph on the lobby table. The two boys standing together 30 years ago, the same jaw, the same eyes. She thought about her mother asleep at the kitchen table in her scrubs. She thought about the bill pile. She didn't say any of it. "I have to get these to storage," she said. Serena stepped aside. Barely. Just enough. Maya walked past her, keeping her pace even, her back straight, the linen stack steady in her arms. She did not look back. She made it to the storage room, set the linens on the shelf, and closed the door behind her. Then she stood in the small dark room that smelled of fabric softener and old shelving, and she pressed the back of her hand against her mouth, and she stayed very still for 4 minutes. She did not cry. She was close, but she didn't. She ran cold water from the utility sink over her wrists, dried them on a clean cloth, checked her face in the small mirror above the sink, eyes clear, expression neutral, the face she had learned to wear in rooms where she was not supposed to matter. She pushed back out into the corridor and went to her station. That evening, on the bus home, she took out her phone and typed a message to the number Daniel had written on the hotel notepad he'd slid across the lobby table the day before. She wrote, "I still want to find him, whatever your daughter said." She pressed send before she could think about it. 3 minutes later, her phone buzzed. One word, good. Linda was still awake when Maya got home. That was the first wrong thing. Her mother was never awake on a Thursday past 10. She worked the early transcription shift on Fridays, which meant she was usually asleep by 9:30, still in her scrubs, the white noise machine already running. But the kitchen light was on, and Linda was sitting at the table with her hands folded in front of her and the notebook open beside them. Maya stopped in the doorway. Her school bag was still on her shoulder. "Mama." "Sit down," Linda said. Not angry, something quieter than anger, the kind of still that takes effort to hold. Maya sat. The kitchen smelled of reheated rice that neither of them was going to eat. The bill pile was visible at the edge of the table, the same stack, the same $340 short. The overhead light was too bright for this conversation. "I found it in your bag," Linda said. "I was looking for the ibuprofen. I was going to tell you." "When?" Maya looked at the table. "I didn't know how." Linda was quiet for a moment. She looked at the notebook, then at her daughter. Her eyes were dry, which somehow made it worse. "How long have you known?" she asked. "A week." "And you talked to him, Daniel Fong?" "Yes." Linda pressed her lips together. She breathed in slowly through her nose. "What did he say?" Maya told her. All of it. The photograph, the company name, the lobby table, the 2 cups of tea, everything Daniel had said about James, and the debt that wasn't his, and the choice he made to disappear rather than let it reach them. She spoke carefully, the way she did when she was trying not to let her voice do something she didn't intend. Linda listened without interrupting. That was unusual. Linda always interrupted. When Maya finished, the kitchen was very quiet. "I always knew," Linda said finally. Maya looked up. "Not the details. But I knew he didn't leave because he wanted to." Linda's hands unfolded and refolded on the table. Quote, 89, quote, she paused, quote, 90, quote, 90, 1, quote, 90, 2, quote. Linda's voice caught slightly on the number, just slightly. "I didn't want you spending your whole life waiting for something that might not be safe to come back to." Maya felt something in her chest loosen and tighten at the same time. "I was waiting anyway, Mama." Linda reached across the table and covered Maya's hand with both of hers. Her palms were warm and dry, the hands of someone who had been holding things together for a very long time. They sat like that, without speaking. The white noise machine hummed through the bedroom wall. Outside, a car passed, its headlights sweeping briefly across the ceiling. Linda asked finally. Maya turned her hand over and held her mother's. He's trying. Linda nodded once. She looked at the notebook. Then she closed it gently, like something that deserved care. Okay, she said. Okay. 3 weeks later, on a Wednesday evening, Maya's phone rang with a number she didn't recognize. She was sitting on the floor of the living room, her back against the fold-out, the shoebox open beside her. She had taken the photograph out without planning to, just found it in her hands the way she sometimes did, the edges soft from years of handling. The apartment smelled of the soup her mother had left on the stove before her evening shift. The white noise machine was off. The apartment was very quiet. She looked at the number. Area code she didn't know. She answered. Quote, 100, quote, a pause. Quote, 101, quote. Everything stopped. She pressed the phone harder against her ear, as if proximity could make it more real. The voice was familiar, the way old music is familiar. Something you haven't heard in years, but your body remembers before your mind does. I know, she said. It was all she could find. I'm sorry. His voice was steady but careful, the way someone speaks when they are holding themselves very still. I need you to know that first, before anything else. Maya looked at the photograph in her hand. Her father at a backyard barbecue, laughing at something she would never know. She had looked at this photograph on his birthday every year for 7 years. She had memorized the angle of the light. Daniel told me what happened, she said. I should have found another way. Maybe. She pulled her knees up to her chest. But you didn't know that then. A silence, not uncomfortable. The kind of silence between people who are relearning the shape of each other. How tall are you now? He asked. She almost laughed. 5'4". Your mother is 5'3". I know. You got the extra inch from my side. Another pause, and she could hear him breathe. Daniel says you play violin. Since I was 11. I didn't know that. His voice shifted slightly on those words. Just slightly. I want to know that. I want to know all of it. Maya pressed the back of her wrist against her eye. 1 second. Then she lowered it. When are you coming home? She asked. 3 weeks. Daniel's handling the last of it, making sure the situation is fully resolved before I move. He said it carefully, the way adults say things they've chosen not to explain completely, and for once Maya didn't push. Some things could wait. Is that okay? 3 weeks, she repeated. I know it's not nothing. It's not nothing, she agreed. But it's not 7 years either. He was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, lower, less controlled. Is your mother there? She's at work. Will you tell her? He stopped, started again. Will you tell her I'll call tomorrow, if she wants? She'll want, Maya said. They stayed on the line a little longer without saying much. She told him about the hotel job. He didn't scold her for it, just listened. She told him about the violin, the fold-out, the 2 buses. He listened to all of it. When they finally said goodbye, Maya set the phone down on the carpet beside her. She sat still for a moment. Then she reached for her violin, tucked it under her chin, and began to play. Really play, for the first time in weeks. He came on a Tuesday evening. Of course he did. Maya was playing violin when the knock came. A slow, careful piece she had been working on for weeks, the kind that required her whole attention. She heard the knock and stopped mid-phrase. The note hung in the air and dissolved. Linda opened the door. James stood in the hallway in a gray jacket, a travel bag over one shoulder, looking older at the eyes, and exactly the same everywhere else. He was thinner. His hair had more gray in it. He was holding the strap of his bag with both hands, which Maya recognized as the thing he did when he didn't know what to do with his hands. She recognized it because she did the same thing. Nobody said anything for a long moment. Linda stood very still in the doorway, one hand on the frame. James looked at her the way people look at something they were afraid they had only imagined. "Hi," he said. Just that. "Hi," Linda said. Then she stepped back and let him in. Maya was standing in the middle of the living room, violin still in her hand. James stopped when he saw her. He looked at her the way the photograph in the shoebox could never look. Present, specific, real. "You're so tall," he said. His voice was unsteady in a way it hadn't been on the phone. Maya said. He almost smiled. He noticed the bill pile on the kitchen counter. His eyes moved over it quickly, then away. He didn't say anything about it. But Maya saw him see it, and she understood that he would not pretend the 7 years hadn't happened, and that was exactly right. She went to make tea because she didn't know what else to do with her hands. That night, Daniel sent a message to Maya's cracked screen phone. 3 words. He made it. Maya read it sitting at the kitchen table while her parents talked quietly in the living room. Her father's voice low and careful, her mother's voice the same. She read it twice and felt something in her chest finally, fully release. She smiled at her phone in the dark kitchen and went to put the kettle on again. 2 months later, Maya was still working at the hotel. Greta gave her a small raise, $17 an hour, and filled out the paperwork without comment, listing Maya's age correctly this time. Neither of them mentioned the discrepancy. Daniel established a scholarship fund for children of immigrant and mixed heritage families in the city. Maya helped name it. Serena called once on a Sunday morning, her voice careful and brief, something that circled an apology without quite landing on one. Maya said, "Thank you for calling," and meant it, and left it at that. James was relearning the apartment slowly. He learned which burner ran hot. He learned that the fold-out creaked on the left side. He learned that Maya played best in the late evening, and he started leaving her door open so he could hear it from the kitchen. Linda bought one new plant for the windowsill. Small, green, catching the morning light. Maya still kept the shoebox, but the photograph lived on her desk now, in the open, where the light could reach it. Some truths take years to find their way home, but they do find it, if someone is brave enough to ask the question. If this story moved you, hit like and subscribe. New stories like this one every week. And tell us in the comments, what would you have done in Maya's place? Would you have taken that notebook or walked away?